My name's John Carter. I'm here on my family's dairy farm near Frankfort, Indiana. And you can see behind me, we've got these wonderful dairy cows out here. They're eating away. We milk about 80 cows on our farm, and we use robots to milk the cows. But right now, the cows are all out here eating. They eat corn, hay, and there's some minerals and things like that in there that they need to produce milk and to have just be healthy. And you can see it. It's very finely ground, and it helps them to digest it better. So when it's nice outside though, the cows will be out in the grass, but they're kept inside in the wintertime just to keep them warm and safe. But all spring and summer, they will be out running around on the grass. So we let them go outside for a bunch of different reasons. It helps us because when they're inside all the time, they are pooping inside all the time. So when they go outside, they get to fertilize the grass and different things, and it saves us from having to clean up after them. And another reason why they go outside is for the food. So we don't have to feed them as much inside. They love the grass, and it's just letting them go outside and get fresh air. They just love going out there, and they jump around. And our cows weigh close to 1,500 pounds. So if you've ever seen a 1,500-pound animal jump, put her back legs up in the air, it's pretty funny to see. So you saw me putting the feed out a little bit ago. So on that wagon, it's attached to a tractor, and the tractor runs the wagon. There's a giant screw inside of the wagon that mixes all the ingredients together. So about twice a day, I will load that wagon up with all the ingredients and put it in that wagon, and it'll just keep on mixing it up until it gets to the consistency that the cows like. And then I bring it in the barn, and it has a little conveyor belt on it, and it just rolls it out as I drive, and the cows all run over because they love that fresh feed, and they'll eat it all up. Our cows eat close to 100 pounds of food a day, which is a lot if you think about it. So they're getting about 50 pounds of corn silage, and corn silage is all of the corn plant chopped up, and it's not just like corn on the cob. It's the whole stalk and all the leaves and everything like that. It's the whole thing. And so along with that, we put in hay. So there's about 15 or 20 pounds of hay in there that the cows are eating. And then they also get ground corn and their minerals, and that makes up the rest of their diet. So that will change. We work with a nutritionist that gives us a recipe to make for the cows. That way we know what they're getting, and we can be consistent with it, because cows love consistency. They don't like change. So when you change something, it kind of throws them off a little bit. Kind of like when your mom usually makes dinner at 5 o'clock, but it's not ready until 6, you might get a little grumpy. The cows get grumpy too. So right now, he's going in to till the compost. So our cows are on what we call a compost bedded pack. So we bed them with sawdust, and sometimes we use straw and things like that, but it's mostly sawdust. And we'll put the sawdust out, and then the cows go lay down on it, and the cows poop on it and do do all that fun stuff. And then every day we go in with our tractor and rototiller and we stir that up. And that stirring is introducing oxygen into the compost, which heats it up and dries it out. So this area over here is we call it the special needs area. So if a cow is not feeling very well, we can tell the robot to send her over in here, or we can go get her and just open a gate. But like this cow right here, she is getting ready to have a baby. So she's off by herself and she's got a nice little straw bed that she can lay on and be comfortable. And so she gets her own food, and just this area is just for cows that need special attention. I'll talk about the robot a little bit. Every cow, you can see on her right there, she has those red numbers. So every cow has a collar around their neck, a necklace, and this right here, this little black box right there, it's called a responder. So above the robots, there's a reader up there. So when a cow walks up to the robot, it will identify her by her collar and her number, and it'll tell the robot that she's ready to milk, or if she's not ready to milk, it won't let her in the robot, or it'll kick her out. So if she's ready to milk, she'll walk in, it'll give her some feed, and she'll stick her head in the little feed pan and just start munching away, and the robot will do its thing. There is a reader up there, and it read who she was and told the robot, this is the robot, told her how much feed she gets when she comes in, and you can see she's got her head in there, she's eating, and it tells the robot where to look, and where to look for her udder, and we'll see that in a little bit. But right now, the first thing that the robot does when the cow comes in is it cleans her off. So you can see those brushes, those red and white brushes down there. They clean off every individual quarter, and then right now it's blowing air on them. And then when it's done cleaning them off, it'll take the brushes away. And when the brushes are away, it brings the arm back in, and there's a little lens in there, like an eye, and it's got lasers, and it connects every individual quarter. And if a cow moves, it can actually sense that. Oh. And it doesn't work doesn't get it perfectly every time, but it'll get it eventually. So when all four quarters are attached, the robot is just doing its thing. So there's a screen on the robot. It's like a big iPad. So I can see what is going on with the cow while she's milking. So there's a whole lot of different information that the robot gives me. I can see how much milk she's giving, how much milk per minute she's giving. I can see the temperature of the milk, if there's any discoloration to it, or if the cow has any other health problems. It'll give me clues on here as to what could be going on with the cow. And this cow's fine. So she is milking right now. You can see the milk coming into the jar. It's coming in through these tubes, through the arm, up into the tubes, and going into this jar. And this jar will weigh, it's actually weighing how much milk is coming in from the cow. And then when she's done, it will pump this milk out through milk lines and different things like that, and it'll go to the tank to be cooled, and then eventually it'll get to the store. So when the cow is done, it'll pump her milk through these pipes. And before it goes to the final tank, it goes through this right here, which is called a plate cooler or a heat exchanger. So it's almost like the radiator on your car. It runs water through pipes that cool down the milk as it passes through it. So once it goes through that, then it goes to a big refrigerator tank in another room. So this is the final process that we go through before it goes to the stores. So we have a milkman that comes with a big semi truck, and he's got a big tank on his semi truck, bigger than this, and this is 2,000 gallons. But so he'll come every other day, and he takes a lot of samples and things to make sure our milk is good to go. So that you can drink it and make ice cream out of it and all the things like that. So after he takes his samples, he hooks up a hose to the opening there, and then he'll start buffering. And this is what we call a buffer tank. So when he hits that button, it opens these valves. These are all run by air, and certain valves will close and open. So these valves over here, when he hits that, these will close. So it shuts this tank off. But the robots are always running. They don't shut off while he's doing this. So while he is doing everything that he needs to do, the milk from the robots is coming into this smaller tank. So he pumps out the milk, and when he's done doing that, the tank needs to be washed. So he'll hit a button, and it's automatic, and it'll wash this big tank. And then when it's done washing, that computer knows that it needs to switch these valves again. So it will open these valves and pump the milk from this tank over into this tank to be cooled. And then these valves will close, and this whole time the robots were still going, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Most of our milk goes to, I think it's going to Nestle right now. So there's a Nestle plant in Anderson, and they make a lot of the powders. So like Ovaltine, chocolate milk mix, things like that, and then powders that also go into other products. So yeah, that's where most of our milk is going. So if you drink Nesquik or Ovaltine or things like that, that could be our milk.